Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Inside the Race, the MyWhoosh Racing Podcast with me, Matt Payne, and my co-hosts, Hayley Simmons and Emma Martin.
Thank you so much to everyone who has watched, liked, subscribed and everything else so far. And please keep tuning in and sharing.
Yes, today, however, in the second of our 2 preview shows, we dive inside the MyWhoosh Championship start sheets and get a sneak peek behind the scenes into Hayley's prep and planning. Look at the on-the-day details when it goes right and maybe when it goes wrong, and take an in-depth look at the details of stage 1.
Before we do dive into that, though, I've got to say, I know it's a packed show, but we don't need to ask Hayley how the preparation is going, because if you're watching the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club that we literally were all on just before recording this show, you will know that Hayley Simmons took her very first win on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Woo! Excellent. Fantastic stuff. It's brilliant. Well done, Hayley.
Thanks.
I am going to ask you, though, how does that race effort be part of tapering? Because that's like surely the opposite of it.
Yeah, so firstly, I'd just like to say that I'm not sure this changes my opinion on Belgium at all. I'm still, this is not now Hayley's favourite world, because it's definitely not. But no, I mean, tapering, I was actually joking a little bit with some of the other riders this week about tapering, including Lionel, because he had some pretty hard workouts. I think Ollie Jones had set him. And we were saying how tapering isn't easy. It's just less volume, keeping your legs active. I had 40/20s this week, which were like pretty horrible to do. So today was like a last push, trying to not go too deep, but you know, a last bit of effort in the legs and then recovery for the next 48 hours.
Well, I have to say, I did wonder on the broadcast when Gabby Guerra caught you, whether she sat on your wheel right the way into the base of the climb, and I thought, will she? Will she? No, she's not.
Hayley was not going to try and stay with Gabby for that last climb. No, I was keeping an eye on the gap behind, but there was no way I was going to try and sit on Gabby's wheel.
The temptation must have been huge.
Yeah, no, it was. And like, it was nice to have Gabby there and to see her come past. But after that, I was just kind of managing my own effort and making sure I didn't do any damage before Tuesday, but obviously still managing to hold on to the win. So no, it was nice. And it's a good, like, psychologically, it gives me confidence because it shows that the prep that I've done and the recovery in the last 2 weeks, hopefully, has been working. So I should be in a good place. But yeah, so Emma, how's the broadcast prep going over there?
Well, it's going. That's all I can say. It's continuing to go. I think.
Was that continuing or continuous?
Well, probably both. I've had so many provisional start sheets. I'm still waiting on the final ones. I've added up the number of riders so many times and come out with different numbers and different percentages every time as people get their power passport tests approved and join the racing for the first time, and other riders choose to or realise that they can't take part in the stage race. So both ends of the spectrum. And congratulations, I understand, are in order to Nathan Craik, who messaged me today to say his power passport was accepted by race control today before the deadline, and he will be on the start sheets and start line on Tuesday. So it is right to the wire in terms of prepping for the broadcast. We've got another meeting with the production team tomorrow, which is Monday. So everything should be there for the big reveal once you're all sat in that start pen on Tuesday. Matt, you're back in the studio after being in the UK. How did that go?
It was good. I did see quite a lot of people on and off through the racing, but it was packed. It was planes, trains and automobiles, definitely. Everyone was saying it was warm. I thought it was freezing. I had my coat on when everybody else was in shorts, pretty much. But it was good to see people, lots of people from MyWhoosh as well, who race on the Sunday Race Club and the Cycling Esports League, which was good. 3 main events, the Otley Town Centre Crit, which was absolutely mad. It's always busy. Then did a really good event, the Yorkshire Children Charity event, which is a hill climb up, and it is continually up. I'm saying, adding that in now, a multi-storey car park. So riders race against each other. And this car park, it doesn't have flat levels and then a ramp. It's continually spiraling all the way to the top. And it's a knockout format, and they have the Red Bull DJ, and they've got some really nice cars, and there's great food, and there's loads of kids. It's great fun, and it's all for a really good cause. So that was brilliant. Then Ilkley on Friday for the last round of the Crit series before I take a break, and I'm in with, I think, Emma, you're joining me as co-host on the Sheffield race, which is the last in the series.
Yes, it is indeed. And it is, the 22nd of July.
I might gate crash.
Oh.
It's my birthday.
Is it your birthday?
It's my birthday.
No way.
Yeah, so I might come and gate crash and just, heckle. Heckle.
No better place.
Well, do you know what? I mean, it was a great trip to the UK. It was a great series. Some amazing racing from past masters, real good old riders, right the way through to the youngest superstars. Great ride by one young rider in the National Series. He's a junior, and he went in a breakaway of 4 riders and stayed away pretty much to the finish. Absolutely impressive stuff. Some really good riding in there, but set us up really well for the rest of the season. But enough about that. We've got a really packed show. I think let's get cracking and get inside the race.
Well, let's go inside the race, shall we? The MyWhoosh Championship starting on Tuesday, the 7th of July. Well, it's Sunday right now, so there's 2 days to go. The start sheet's in front of me. It's really exciting. We've got a 40% uplift in riders and racers from last year. With at the moment, and I say at the moment because these are still provisional start sheets until tomorrow, 46 riders taking to the start line. It's a fabulous, fabulous number.
And at the moment, the start lists that we have are still provisional. There's still lots of riders, as you've said already, Emma, that are still in the process of making sure that they get approved and can come and join in. So it could yet go up some more.
It could. So of that 746, 513 in the men's race, 233 in the women's.
Quite a commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. What I've loved, actually, because, looking through the start sheets in preparation to talk about them today and during the championships, I was kind of flicking through the sheets. Like, how many pieces of paper is this? But that's great. And it's great to see new riders, people that we've not had on Sunday Race Club before. And you can just see that the excitement of such a big event has drawn new people in, and that's great.
Yeah, well, shall we go through the categories as well and just have a little look at who we think the runners and riders might be? Category 6 last year, Hannah Hermansen was the only person to take the win, the QOM and the sprint competition. There are 49 riders in Category 6. It is the largest women's race field but it is going to be wide open, I think, this year.
I love that it's actually the largest race field because, Category 6, a lot of people start in Category 6, but it's really great to see so many kind of new riders. And I think these ladies will have a really tough race. I think it'll be a fierce battle. I don't think, Category 6 isn't suddenly going to be easier than the other categories. If anything, it's almost harder because their race times do tend to be a little bit longer. But I think we're going to see some great sprint battles. I'm looking at Jessica Hamilton maybe for the sprint jersey. I think she'll have a great race. And then, you've got the likes of Angelica Limbaga, you've got Musa Al-Mansouri, Jacqueline Almeida. So you've got some really strong Category 6 women in there.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, Matt, but I saw a certain Bridget Bremner on the start sheets for the Vegemite Vixens. What a name.
I know, it's a brilliant name. I mean, I want to focus on the riders, but I do get caught up in the names quite a lot of the teams. It is one of my pet subjects. I think that the Vegemite Vixens is a brilliant name, and it's a great team. Georgina Jones, Bridget Bremner, Liz Smith, and Joanna Warren. It really is a very strong team indeed. I'm looking forward to seeing what the FCC taillights do, the Femme Cycle Club taillights, because you've actually got a lot of experience in that. You've got Ange Quapp, you've got Manon Holtman, Birdie Driscoll, and Mel Scriven. And if you added up all their rides together, you've got a lot of riding on MyWhoosh, a lot of time on MyWhoosh. So there's a lot of experience in there as well. And I think that's going to come through. Other teams are a real mix where we've got riders who've got lots of experience and relatively little. I'm going to be interested to see. There's some riders currently not yet in that team, and this is before the team cut-off, I hasten to add. Susanna Lopes, who had
the most storming ride today. Someone needs to pick her up and put her in a team.
I don't quite know how she's not in a team, but then again, it does give her freedom. And there are riders that will not want to be in the team to get that freedom of movement that you get and gamble that they're not, don't have that agenda of team agenda and go to being a solo rider. And I think there is something to be said for that. Jenny Tan's another rider in there, and Nikki Ziad. Again, another rider who's been up there in sprints and in climb competitions, who maybe just wants that little bit of extra movement that you get when you've got that freedom. I think it's to be really, Category 6 is always great. And just thinking ahead to categories, so the GCC categories, Musa Al-Mansouri is going to be potentially, I think, in this category, the rider who's most likely to take that. She's got experience of racing the MyWhoosh Championships before.
Yeah, and she's such a strong climber. And when we come into those latter stages, I think that's when she'll come to the fore. Before we move on to Category 5, interestingly, Category 6 women had the smallest winning margin last year in all of the 6 women's categories, just 10 seconds over the 7 stages separated the top spot from second place.
How many?
10 seconds. That's how close the racing was in Category 6 last year.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. I can't imagine it could be that close or any closer again, but this is stage racing. This is cycle sport. Anything can happen.
Category 5, interestingly, in the opposite to Category 6 is the smallest race field, 29 riders on the start sheets. And I think this is all about boundaries and where our riders are this year, because when you move up to Categories 3 and 4, and the numbers swell again. So I think this is about the pattern of women's racing and where those levels are settling for the MyWhoosh champs.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can see actually, some continuity through the categories as well, where you've got in all of the categories, you'll have, a Femme Cycle Collab team and groups like that have done a really good job of making sure that people who want to be in a team will find a spot, which is obviously really nice. And there's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes. If you follow some of the Discord chats and things like that, with doing a really good job and putting a lot of effort into making sure that no woman is left behind who wants to be part of a team. And again, we see a strong Femme Cycle Collab contingent within Category 5.
We do. I think one of the things I like about the Category 5, there aren't any individual riders, and it's almost a nice experiment, because it's very rare we actually get a race category on, say, a Sunday Race Club or in the MyWhoosh Championships where the entire race field is in a team. And I think it'd be interesting to see how that, just as even as an unbiased observer, how that then plays out in terms of tactics, how much more evident team tactics are in that, because you're putting it under a microscope. It's almost magnified the efforts of each and every one of these riders because the field is smaller. We're going to look at them in more depth individually. There's some great riders in there. I don't know about Emily and her thoughts on these teams. We saw Randa Kuhul back on the Sunday Race Club again, and she's in here. And when you've got her and Tanya Howeiler on the same team, they're 2 really strong riders.
They are indeed. I mean, I've highlighted 4 teams on this sheet, so it might be small and Bijou, but it's going to be a really tough battle. No, it's going to be a really tough battle out there. Aeronova, Johnson, Samuel, Loxley, Sonnerson, and Sewell. They are all absolutely phenomenal. I took one look and I went, well, that's got to be team number 1. And then I looked further down the sheet and I went, oh, I'm not sure about that. Dobbin, Schultz, they're on the same team. Oh, the Cycle Sparks could go well, but then look at the Cycleholics. Howeiler, Seslag, Hurring, and Cahool.
Yeah.
Then I went, look at the pedal artists. Masciaretti, Tompkinson, Giuliano, Cansara, Jones and De Silva. The pedal artists have got it for me. I mean, it's going to be a real battle, I think, between the pedal artists and Aeronova. But you know, you could throw the pedal dancers in there too.
Yep.
As I said, it might be small and bijou, but it's going to be a battle.
But look at Velocity Vipers. You've got Anne-Marie Guiney in here there, who was right up all race, was strong on the attack, really was pushing hard in there. And I think she's going to be and Alan Tejera,
you just can't call it, can you?
No, you can't. I think it's
the fact
hard.
The fact that we're already having this debate actually shows just how exciting the Category 5 racing is going to be, which is great. Yeah. Like the fact that we know we're going to have such good racing throughout the categories is really exciting.
It's call a sprinter. Well, I could call 5. Call the GC. Well, I could call pretty much anybody. I could call the team competition. Well, take your pick. Just you could literally just sort of pull them out of the hat, and you wouldn't necessarily be wrong because they're all going to be in there. It really is. I think 5 is going to be a really interesting battle to see unfold.
Yeah, it is. Category 4, 35 riders on the start sheets in Category 4, 7 teams. Can I just go? It's got to be my favourite team name so far in the women's category, House Arrest.
I mean, okay. It's true. To be fair, I think I did a long ride on Thursday, and I think I titled my Strava activity something like, you know, last outdoor ride for 2 weeks, which feels funny in July, being like, okay, I'm just not going outdoors for the next 2 weeks. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Suzanne Stenman took the win in this category last year. And really interestingly, actually, a lot of the women who took the wins in the categories last year on the MyWhoosh Champs then have progressed through the Sunday Race Club and gone up categories and actually really cemented their racing on MyWhoosh. But, I mean, the House Arrest, let's go here. Claudia Hyde, Nina Dowling, Natalia Idzik, Hannah Goodall and Philippa Hill. I mean, they might be on house arrest, but they are one strong squad. But they've got, like in Category 5, they've got a battle because there's some great riders and some fabulous characters in Category 4, which is one of the things I love when we drop into the pain caves.
I think so too. I mean, if you're talking about characters, you've got Alma Mongeli.
Yeah.
Great character, along with Sebra Ray, who's a great sprinter and all-rounder. Mongeli can sprint, but she's predominantly a climber. You've got Xingji in there and Monica Rapazo. That's a strong team. But you've then got, right, I look at that and I think, okay, so that could be it. But then I look at the top team on the list, Rebel Union. You've got Pekka Kova, who's got a phenomenal sprint on her. You've got Gina De Grazia, who's a great, I think she's turned herself from being a sprinter to a climber to being a great all-rounder. Or the What Works, Lam Kong, who we know is always strong, I mean, really competitive. And Germaine Prado, I think it's not week by week or day by day, minute by minute. Germaine Prado is coming back to form, and she's a multi-time national champion and a very, very, very good rider on esports and racer on esports. I wouldn't want to call that.
4-month-old I saw on social media today.
How old? That's not possible. It's not that long, is it? Wow.
And can I just say, of course, keep your eyes peeled for Alexandra Knowles' artwork.
Indeed. I'm going to go for a prediction, and that is Angelina Roa for the sprints.
Oh,
okay.
I'm going to get 1 or 2 predictions. You can't predict in every category. I just absolutely refuse because it's impossible. But on this, I think for the overall sprints, I'm going to go for Roa.
I think it's also difficult to predict in a stage race because, I mean, as you mentioned, with people being individuals versus teams, there might be team orders or, you know, a kind of how hard are you going to go for the sprint competition when actually we need 3 strong times every single day to make sure that we're in with a shot at the team competition. So I think some of the dynamics change a little bit in a stage race.
Yes, maybe we'll talk about that after stage 1. I was having a little think about that during Sunday Race Club today when I was watching some of the tactics in the Cat 1 men's race, thinking, if this is how it's going to play out in the MyWhoosh Champs, this is going to be rather interesting. One to peg for later, I think. Sort of talking about pegging for later, Category 4 moves to Category 3 and the numbers go up again. 44 riders on the start sheets in Category 3. 8 teams. So again, the team competition is going to be fierce. For me, there were some great rides out there today, actually, on the Sunday Race Club. I think I might stick my neck out, though, and go the Full Send Collective could be ones to watch. So are Riot on the Storm.
Sophie Bainhout on Full Send Collective with Jojo by Amy Bradley, Angel and Hadlock, Julie Walker. Has got to agree. Really strong team, but
so I also just want to jump in there because I know that Amy Bradley had a bit of sickness earlier, like at the start of this week, and so today I think she wasn't going, like intentionally was not going full gas. But if she's now recovered, she had been racing so strongly on SRC, before having this little bout of illness. So I think she'll be on really good form, and she's kind of one of my people to watch within category 3. So she'll be, excellent firepower for that team.
I think also I think that sickness is a real point because you only need to get that at the wrong time, get a bug at the wrong time, and it's really going to knock you back, and things are so close there. You only need to look at the battles that we've seen out today between Brittany Litton, who's racing on the Riot on the Storm squad, and Camilla Salgado, who's riding on Riot of the Tiger. I do like the Riot of the Tiger, Riot on the Storm.
They're both strong squads as well.
Great names as well. It has to be said.
I did look at it and think, well, which one's their A squad and which one's their B squad? And I don't think there is.
No, I could agree with that. Maybe On the Storm could edge it on this course, but then you've got the climbs and you've got Salgado is so good on those as well, and comes in. I think Too Hot to Handlebars could be the one. It's just there's some genius names this year, absolutely genius.
I'm going to be singing.
Gina Van Rossum is probably going to be too hot to handle on at least 2 or 3 of these stages, for sure.
She is, but I'll tell you something, I will be singing in the commentary box, should I say. Sweaty, and we know it.
Oh my God!
Well, it might apply where you are, but if you get let in the studio doors, if you're so sweaty, we might.
I'm just like, what a name is that? I love it. It's absolutely brilliant.
I have to say, it's a really good job for everyone involved that I've got the men's race to sort myself out before we try and do any sort of recording, because I'll be sweaty and you know it. But can I just give a shout out in category 3 as well to Lizzie Brooke, who because she's got to be 6 months pregnant now, so I'm really happy to see her racing.
I'm really impressed and with her even just being on the start line, full stop.
Exactly.
And whilst we're talking about individuals, Valentina Disegna, I mean, she has the freedom to ride what she wants. She's dangerous in the sprint. She's dangerous on the climbs. I think if she rides that smart, she could hitch a lift on any one of these teams' efforts and profit from it.
Don't disagree. Category 2. Hayley, put a big blanket over your ears. You shouldn't listen.
I was going to say I'm not going to participate in the category 2 conversation
because our one and only Hayley Sims is on the start sheet, part and parcel of the core squad. 41
They've got
riders.
No chance then, have they? Let's face it.
Not
only got the winner
they're not one
of the
of
last
mine
SRC.
Yeah, I painted a massive target on my back today, didn't I?
Never mind. It's like, who's on form today?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just going to pretend that everyone was just resting for next week, and that's the only way I managed to get away on Belgium. But anyway,
I know we've played where we joke about playing Where's Wally and Where's Hayley. Well, where's Hayley? She's up Blinking Road.
Yeah,
just gone.
Well, what was funny is that I messaged you this morning to say I hate Belgium, and then I bet you got the cut back to category 2, and you're like, hang on, where's she gone? What? I thought she'd be out the back. She's on the front. What's going on?
I thought we got a glitch in the Matrix somewhere. I thought there'd been a glitch. It's more likely than you going up the road in Belgium, let's face it. Let's go back to the racing. Dorothy Gonzalez in the sprints again today for the core squad. Definitely somebody to watch. I think when we go out there. Holly Bergin was looking strong today.
Yeah, she was. And she's really on fire at the moment, which is fabulous. 41 riders on the start sheets in category 2. There's some new names in here as well. And one of them I want to highlight is a young rider from Chile, Martina Torres. She has been 3 times national time trial champion. of Chile, and she's only 20 years of age. I am really excited to watch her race in Category 2. I also loved watching Anouk Bruget today. She really tried to take Gonzalez Ruhr on the sprints, and I think she's going to be really up for it. The French squad we know in both the men's and the women's. Because those World Championships are in France in 2027, the French team are gearing up big style for the next 12 months in esports, and I think she's one of the riders to watch. She's getting better and better, so I want to keep an eye on her too. But both core squads, I think the Cycle District 2 squad, I think the Riot squad, the Swedish Fika Mafia crew, you can never discount them, but a couple of the Swedish riders have slipped up from Category 2 into Category 1, and I think that's going to weaken them a little bit, but never discount them. And then I understand the lovely Sarah Roach from the Watt team is also getting married this week, but is racing the stage race as well.
Okay.
I'm talking to Sarah and she didn't mention that. Okay.
Good or bad timing, depending on your point of view. Normally, if you win, you get the confetti cannon sort of showering over you as you go over the finishing line. Maybe she's combining both at once. I can't wait to see. Do we even know what day? Just sometime this week.
Well, I might let you know on the broadcast. Keep your eyes peeled.
Well, yeah, we
and
will
your ears
have to.
peeled.
Yeah, indeed. Just going to say, I agree with you, Anouk Bruget. Definitely one to watch. And I think having seen what she can do on the road on multiple days of racing and training, she doesn't seem to have many easy days. So that's going to play to your advantages out there. Rianne Denton, again, another rider I think who goes better on hard days racing, but again, just like all the other categories, it's so hard to pick. Maria Tomaby Thompson could be the rider. She could be up there.
She has great races.
Yeah. She does. And Vanessa Murray today has been good again. So, again, impossible to call. Impossible to call. And I think impossible to call a winner of anything because I don't think there's a standout in any particular one category.
No, I think the climb competition, the sprint competition, and the overall is going to be really tough in Category 2.
Yeah, although we'll see if Martina Torres can do well in that young rider classification.
Yeah, I'm desperate. I really am looking forward to watching her race. That leaves us with Category 1 in the women's race. Can I, first of all, there are 35 riders on the start sheets in Category 1. As I mentioned, a number of the Category 2 riders have come up. First of all, a big shout out to Femme Cycle Collab. 3 teams in Category 1. And one of them has Ashley Moorman-Passio on, the very first esports female world champion. And that is going to be seriously one to watch. In fact, all 3 of those teams are really interesting. I love the fact that Liz Van Heuling has gone back on the FCC Endorphins crew. She's had a bit of a jiggle around and been riding for one of the other FCC teams recently. This team competition for me is one I am really, really excited to watch. Ablock International, we look at it and we go, well, Kate McCarthy's there. She's the world champion. She won GC last year. She took the QOM competition. She won 6 different stages last year. And there's a big question as to whether anybody on this list can stop her winning this year or whether, is it even possible? But the team competition for me, then if she is so dominant, is the bit that's really interesting because Ablock International go head to head with the FCC Endorphins and the Sweat Sensations every month on the Sunday Race Cup, and they don't always come out on top. The Endorphins have won it, the Sweat Sensations have won it, Ablock International have won it over 7 stages. That just makes it even more exciting. Yeah,
and I think one of the things we need to think about here is because the Ablock International team are reliant on to some degree on McCarthy's time gains as a team. The day if Kate McCarthy has a bad day, it disproportionately penalises the team because she is the rest of the riders are great riders. You don't get into Category 1 without being an amazing athlete and 2 a great rider. But I think that the time that gets put in the bank by McCarthy is critical to the team time, whereas the other teams are very balanced, although that could change. I like you say, Ashley Moorman-Passio, great rider. less experience, but has been racing, but didn't come in and blow the world of Sunday Race Club apart when she's come in and raced. She's not just come in and won. In fact, she's not coming in and taking top 2.
I think like some of the other teams are maybe more well-rounded or balanced, and you're going to see teams where maybe okay, they might not win the stage, but they might get 2, 3, 4 or 2, 3, 6. And actually, if those time gaps are then not as huge as they could be, you're going to get those teams that are then winning the team competition rather than Ablock just kind of walking away with it. So I do think the team competition in Category 1 is really interesting. And there are so many strong riders. And for me, I'm looking forward to watching Minna Koistunen race as well, because I think I read this week that she'd, after last year's MyWhoosh Championships, where she won Category 2, and then went to the World Championship, she then made it one of her big goals to try and be in the top 10 in Category 1 in the MyWhoosh Championships this year. And she's had such a consistent run of form and been, 4th so many times. And I think she could have a really good week.
Well, I'd go one further and say she could top 5. I actually think saying she could top 10 is probably it's a conservative estimate that she's giving herself, because her form at the moment, she's back where she was. When she had to pull out of the World Championships because of her pregnancy, she's back where she was before then, with bells and whistles on it, because she really wants it, and it's that really wanting it that I think is giving her those bells and whistles. So it's going to be great to watch her ride. I also want to put a bit of a call out for the Watt sisters, actually. Katarina Karamani, first top 10 on the Sunday Race Club since moving up into Category 1 today. What a race. Absolutely brilliant. Fabulous to see her. Rachel Brown, duathlete. She is on absolutely phenomenal form in the duathlon at the moment. She battles with Merle Bruni very regularly outdoors with the duathlon. Mel Bruni, on another note, raced an Ironman today. And on Tuesday, she lines up for a 7-day stage race.
She's a machine. She is a machine.
She's an incredible machine, and one of the nicest people you could ever meet as well when you meet her in person, which is just like, you expect like the Terminator to turn up, and it's not. She's a really lovely person. What sisters? Because Jade Van Shaw could be nailed on sprint winner. Epic. But multi-stage day racer in the mountain bike. So, and I think one of the things is I was listening to some really interesting, to a really interesting podcast put out about riders and where they're good and versus the continent that they live in. And in Africa, stage racing mountain bikes is it's disproportionately huge. So if you're a multi-day athlete, actually, whatever your skill set, you tend to ride mountain bike. Now, we know Kelsey J. Van Shaw can ride Cape Epic at the very highest level and be competitive, and we know she can sprint. I think for me, you've got a really interesting mixed team in there about how they're going to go. I think for me, one of the teams that we don't talk about very much, and actually, it is Mel Bruni's team, because you've got
sensations.
Nicole Mayer, who loves racing full stop, and I am so glad to see her racing the whole of the championships. Just incredible with what she juggles. And Mel Bruni in there, Catherine Fua, who today...
she looks so strong.
Hello, Terminator. Just like, honestly, just like... everything, just such a strong rider and so determined, real strength of character there that drives her on. And then you've got Gabby Guerra, who today, I don't want to say made it look easy, but my goodness, she made it look really easy today. She was so controlled. I'm not saying she wasn't trying, but it was all... She looked like she was operating to some degree on cruise control today. It didn't look like there was... Some days we see Gabby a little flustered, let's say. Sometimes we see her right on the edge. Today, that edge was on the other side of the continent from her. She really, she just looked, it was great to see her looking so calm, so controlled, and that is dangerous for everybody else. But,
Well, you talk about red mist coming down during racing. Around Gabby today in her pain cave, it was silver sparkly mist.
It is worrying for everyone else, isn't it? Yeah, but
it is. And then Kate McCarthy, not on the Sunday Race Club, immediately prior to the start of the. Is this the best game of? Well, if I came and I beat you all, you'd all know what was going to happen. But now, so I'm not going to get much advantage from that. How do I get advantage? Do you know what? I'm not going to turn up, and I'm going to make you all go, "Oh, what's going on?" They're going to make you think, and you don't know that I'm going to come out on stage one and absolutely batter you all, because that is, there is that potential.
Yeah, but you say that, but I have to say, Ablock International, across the board, there are a number of national champions on that squad, and they do like to highlight each other. It might be dominant because McCarthy is on the team and you expect the world champion, like I said, 6 stage wins. But during those 6 stage wins last year, they highlighted the different members of the team. Kristen Kolczynski comes out and she does some epic climbing and she puts in some fabulous stages. Mika Soderstrom comes out and they support her in the sprints. Lisa Hermansen leads her out. Kate McCarthy leads her out. They work as a team. So whilst we've got the rainbow bands on that crew, they really are a team unit. And that is also lovely to see.
It is. And you talk about Lisa Hermansen, she gets better and better and better. Last year's stage racing, I was sort of watched day 1 and thought, that's pretty good. And then just day 2 or then day 3 and day 4, you're just like, actually, this is a great performance and somebody who gets better as those days go on. One rider that we haven't mentioned, Saskia Susnik, has been racing on the road on stage races already this season.
Yeah.
So if you want experience of racing back-to-back days recently, she's one to watch because she might be up there. And again, another young rider. So real and interesting talent for the future. 2 riders not in teams, Carolina Kolkowitz and Tilly Field at the moment. And I have to say, Tilly Field looked to be back onto form. Kolkowitz, I think in some ways that's good for her because she's got a great sprint. So she can just ride on the wheels, not have to answer any teammate calls for help.
Well, maybe we should caveat this with these are the provisional start sheets, that the firmed up ones come out tomorrow. Carolina Kolkowitz, let me just say, she's a world-class rider. She pilots one of the tandems at the Paris. And for a very long time last year, when I was sat in the commentary box, I was commentating because they were sat in the gold medal position in the road race. They finished in second at the end, but she is no slouch on her own or as part of a duo. Class
is class.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, stage racing is a different beast, but as you said, class is class.
So we've spent a very long time chatting about the women. We could make another show with the men because there's so much to say here. But perhaps we should move on. Take a look at the men, shall we?
Men's start sheets.
I know. 500, I'm going to say again, 513 men on the start sheets across the 6 categories. Category 6 is, I don't know what word to use, ginormous, enormous, massive, anybody and everybody, humongous. 145 riders at the moment on the start sheets in category 6. It is absolutely packed. Last year, Michael Rademacher took the overall title in category 6 in the men's competition. And it was another really, really good race. 39 seconds separated him from Riley Milostic, who finished in second place. The younger Milostic, Lyndon in Cat 1, being the older brother. Riley was literally just on the age band to get into the MyWhoosh Championships last year, and he raced really strongly. Cadabona finished in 3rd place, 1 minute 22 back. So it was a close competition in category 6 men's last year.
There's so many riders. It almost can't help. It can't help but be a close racing, so in many ways, because of that, and I think there's a lot of unknowns in here. There's a lot of people who you've not even using MyWhoosh info and all of the stalking of social media and Strava and everything else. These people are going to be very hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody's had to go out and do a power passport test on there. Everybody has to conform to the same verification. You've got, these are real performances from real people. But, I know what I am expecting from Mike Broadbent. I know what I'm going to expect from Giorgio Mangino, Cosimo Mangino. I know what to expect from Stephen Tiger, but there are so many riders in there that I look at it and I go, this is it's almost like it's a new genre of book.
It is, and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be very aggressive racing, because I think you often see aggressive racing in men's category 6 anyway. But with such a big field, it's going to be really aggressive. It's going to be very entertaining to watch. But I think people are going to have to watch out, because, like you said, there are going to be riders who, the day-to-day SRC category 6 racers won't have come across, and that means that they can't just, let a gap go, let a break go up the road and say, oh, you know what, I'm pretty confident that they'll come back on the big climb later on, because you have no idea. And I think that there's going to be some real dynamic racing in this category.
And with the 10-minute time gap, there's no waiting for category 5 to catch and hitching a toe. So it really is about what they're doing and making sure they don't let those gaps go. There's 15 teams in the team competition.
That looks uncertain
as well.
Oh,
I know.
I think the thing with the 10 minutes is that, in theory, particularly, I agree with category 6 is going to start like an express train and probably not stop at any stations between the start and the finish. It's just not going to ease off. There's none of that. If somebody doesn't throw the points the right way, they are going to keep on going through anyway, because they are absolutely. There's so many teams. As you say, so many people you don't know. You can't let gaps go. I think the thing is that 10 minutes sounds long, but we have longer stages. We have big climbs, and 6 coming off first, I think still will see people. And I think there are still going to be the opportunities if riders get dropped off the lead group, particularly if it's early on in the stage, to actually regroup. Don't panic, regroup, get some more food, get some more fluids down you, get yourself reset, and then pick a group up coming past. There is that potential. It's going to be later in the stage, don't get me wrong. But I think that category 6 still there is that possibility for all the categories other than category 1 of being caught out there. And I think we can't discount that because of the gaps. I think there's some class riders in there who were going to do their best not to have that happen. Simon Llewellyn springs to mind, one of the real driving forces in making the racing fun. We're going to see him in there. Emil Ivanov comes to mind, Mike Broadbent, as I've said, in there. But there's riders as well that don't necessarily shine on an individual week basis, but somebody like Florian Dromard, we saw him racing in the MyWhoosh. Past championships have shown he's good on a stage race on MyWhoosh. He's got the Palmares from them, and I think he's definitely a rider. And the whole of that level titanium squad, Mamba, Dromard, Frazier, Callangad and Wang, there's some proper experience there, some good riders.
Yeah, there are. Category 5, a little bit smaller. 98 riders on the start sheets in Category 5. And in terms of there's still the BMC squads. That's great that BMC are rolling right the way through a number of the categories here. The BMC Fire, the BMC Fives, the Spokes, the Up Crew, they're all in it. There's a number of others in here as well, though. Virtual Velocity, I'm looking at. Cadabona, Fio, Spratt and Loxley.
Oh, yeah.
It's only a squad of 4, but what a squad.
It's a pretty mighty squad of 4. I've got Spratt marked down on my list as someone to watch as well for the week and for the sprints.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Joel Warren in terms of the sprints for the level Vikingos. Whether or not we're going to see Luke Allport trying to go off the front is another matter, because that level racing squad is really strong. Tishano is one again, good on stage races. Kudron in there, and Rodolphe Bertram. We know how well he climbs. Is he going to come good in there?
Well, Nick Spratt last year was the only man in the MyWhoosh Championships to take both the King of the Mountains and the sprint jersey in his category. No other man did the double. So Spratt was on form last year and targeted both competitions. It's going to be interesting to see what he chooses this year.
One other rider who I'm going to say I am so glad I'm going to see, Marius Fossier.
Yes, he was going really well today.
Now, for anybody who doesn't know, and it is worth a watch back, Marius Fossied in the last championships came out and he won stage 1 and 2
and 2
and 3, and I think it was, and then had to
went on holiday.
go on holiday with the family because he booked his holiday. This year, he hasn't. Well, he had booked his holiday. He's had to move it and has moved it so he can race the whole of the championships. And then, having done that, what happened today in the race, Emma? Can you remember?
Well, he was on the front.
He was on the front. Did he not win?
Yes.
So he's like, he's on form.
On form.
To be fair, if you're going to move your holiday, your family are like, you know what? I really hope you do well because you've just messed our holiday around. So you better come back with something, mister.
That's some proper. I think it's some proper support from the family, and I think it's some proper pressure on him all simultaneously in there. I think it'd be really interesting to see how he goes. Christoph Lasno was looking maybe just a little like he was a little bit back off what he's been. Last few weeks, he's maybe not been quite as dominant as we've seen maybe in the past. But I think, again, another rider who I'm expecting maybe will go better in this stage race, because I think there's been a plan in his head somewhere.
Well, I was going to say, you don't know what training riders have been doing, where they've been tapering, how well that taper and they respond to it. But it was great to see him back today. It really was. So I think he is one to watch. Category 4, a smaller number of riders, 80. But I'm going to say category 4, 80 riders, it's still golden. But I say that level golden has smashed across category 4, and I love it. But I did notice that Golden Boy himself, Eric Rimborg, is in team 2.
Yeah.
Well, I always make an assumption when there are teams 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C that they're allocating who they think is going to be best. Sometimes it's not.
Well, yeah, I on level golden for team 2, you got Adrian Gonzalez, who's really strong. You've got Aidan Sinclair, who has been riding off the front and taking things not quite at will, but you've seen how hard he'll work to go on a breakaway to go take points and prizes. And then you've got Eben Svort, who is just a phenomenal sprinter as well as really strong, and his timing usually is pretty good. And you've got Golden Boy of Eric Rimborg, who, let's not forget, I mean, I know we talk about him being Golden Boy and he's golden shades, but actually he's got some pretty golden legs on him when it comes to him. He's a good rider. You know, don't let the bling disguise the fact that actually beneath the bling he's pretty swift.
He is.
Yeah, like I think sometimes it's really hard to look at teams and be like, oh, A team, B team, or know how things have gone behind the scenes. So it's always interesting to then watch how the tactics and the strategies of the various teams also play out in the race, and whether, you know, some riders might actually have been given free rein to go for jerseys on certain days or over the whole race, and exactly how they've kind of divvied up their strengths, shall we say.
Well, there's also the other option, isn't there? The teams are racing for 7 positions. Maybe by the time we get to stage 5, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it could happen. By the time we get to stage 5, those teams who might be in 10th or 12th place out of the running in the team competition for the prizes, if you've got multiple teams, if you've got 2 squads and you've split them, any issue, any challenge with some of the riders in the team who are in 12th place working for riders who perhaps might be in the team in 3rd because you've actually just split your riders? There's all sorts of decisions and discussions that may well be going on out there.
Yep. And I think that's where the wise old heads need to be sort of looking after the younger riders. I'm going to deliberately use a team here that don't have multiple teams in there because of that. For that very reason. And that's so when you got somebody like Marvin Angarita, who is a very experienced racer rider, world championship level rider, you know, and then you've got riders like Oscar Swilinski, who is a relatively new rider, you know, coming from that we saw in great form this week, a ski mountaineer, who's, you know, represents Poland in that. He's also a great bike rider as well. But I think you've got sort of new riders and old riders, and I think that's where they can be really wise, the old riders, in how they expend their energy and which alliances they make and where. And I think it is easier if you are all part of the Level Golden squads, or you're all part of the FCC, or you're all part of the multiple teams in teams.
It's interesting, isn't it? You say that, but I'm looking at the start sheets, and I haven't seen any start sheet where I've gone, oh, well, that team are going to be dominant. Because every single start sheet I've looked at, there's at least 4, if not 5 crews where I've thought, wow, 4 or 5 teams where I've thought, you know what, they could all go really, really strongly. And there's a lot of competition. BMC Anzacs have got a great crew here. Ratio Racing Move also. I mean, they've got Cirillo and Pino. They are regularly top 5 riders on the Sunday Race Cup.
Yeah.
Cat 4. I don't think I've come across a category yet that's not going to be a good race.
No, I think they're all going to be good races. I also noticed that Narbati's moved into category 4 as well for the MyWhoosh Championship. So you've got to be looking at him for some of those longer climbing days as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Category 3, 82 riders on the start sheets in Category 3. And before we start looking at this list, I'm just going to say, I've looked at this. Every single team has got 5 riders. And I think there are 8 teams here who could win it.
So it's wide open, is what you're saying?
Wide open, Category 3.
Utterly ridiculous. I looked at Category 4 and I thought, every team I can pick 2 riders in there that I know that are going to go well, pretty much. Here, I look at every team and I go, well, it's not just 2, it's pretty much the entire team. There's no real team where I look and go, there's a weak link, because I just don't think there are any. You could pick any team and go, yeah, that they've got 2 or 3 people minimum who are going to be amazing. Level Vikings, Christopher Morgan today, riding off the front for so long on the front. He really was super strong. Tamo Friedeck, you'd think, he's moved up. He's made incredible progress, moving his way up. But this is the same person who's got the course record in Belgium in Category 5, Category 4, simultaneously.
And set his fastest time in Category 3 today.
2 minutes faster, wasn't it, than he'd done in Category 4 when he rode it, and he was top 10. So, again, you just can't say just because somebody's moved up, they're not going to be competitive. And I think you add them in, it really could be challenging for any of these teams to be in there. One rider who I'm surprised not to be in a team, and that is Andre Diedrich.
Yeah, Stan van Vellegem as well. Stan van Vellegem took 2nd place in the competition last year, 14 seconds off the win. In fact, Category 3, it was the smallest winning margin. Christian Montoya took the win. Van Vellegem came in 2nd. Lewis Ridley took 3rd last year, just 56 seconds back. In fact, only 1 minute 58 seconds separated the top 5 riders in Category 3 last year. It was the closest top 5 out of all of the categories. Well, nearly. They sort of tied with Cat 2, but we'll come to that in a minute.
So, could we even think about anyone in particular for any of this? I mean, Rafael Buster for the sprints potentially, or Mason Rucker, or are we thinking there's just too many to call in all these with so many riders? I personally, I can think of lots of names and be like reading the phone book.
Yeah,
I don't think we can call. I don't think we can call any of the categories in this.
No, when I was looking through this yesterday, I was kind of reading the names, and I was like, well, but that person, and it's like, and in the end, I've basically got no kind of asterisks next to specific names, because for me, a lot of it is quite wide open.
I think come back and ask me that question after stage 2.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
No. It's a considered response.
Data collection and refinement.
Yeah,
exactly.
Something like that.
Facts and figures in front of me, please. Well, talking about facts and figures in front of me, please. If we think Category 2 is going to be tough, Category 3 is going to be tough. Think about, okay. If we think Category 3 is going to be tough, Category 2 is going to be tougher. Let me tell you, 75 riders on the start sheets in Category 2. Again, I have got 8 teams here who I think are going to be amazing. I've got riders in the individual list that I can't believe aren't in a team, unless they deliberately don't want to be. I mean, Jussi Palaka, can I just say, Jussi Palaka last year joined us on the MyWhoosh Championships. He was new to racing on MyWhoosh at that point. He joined us in Category 5. Over the course of 12 months, he has got stronger and stronger and stronger. He's now racing in Category 2. He's just gone up into Category 2, and I mean just. So it's not like he's been firmly there for some time. He's literally just made the step. But he's gone from Category 5 to Category 2 in 12 months.
It's amazing,
That's
isn't it?
just
Incredible.
phenomenal.
And
It really is.
incredible. And you can't have many bad days to do that. That's, for me, that's one of the things which reflects on the stage race rather than on a one-day race, is because you can't have many bad days in the course of a year if you're going to make that kind of progression. Because if you do have a bad day, it's going to knock that back, too many of them. It's just amazing. Thomas Evans, again, another rider who's been absolutely flying in Category 2, not in a team. Ross Fawcett. Is Ross planning on going on holiday halfway through the race or something? Because,
maybe.
But
I
then he always
understand
takes
there's
the
a
bike
Swiss
with
trip
him.
somewhere.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
maybe he's going to take the bike with him.
I was interested because when I saw Ross at the Gralock, we were talking about that Swiss race because it was on my calendar originally, and obviously it's disappeared because of the MyWhoosh Championships. And I wondered whether it would also disappear from his outdoor calendar, but maybe it hasn't.
Well, Rebecca is not on the start sheets in the women's race, you might have noticed. So Rebecca Johnson not on the start sheets. So we will see what happens. I had because these were provisional. I had a little question mark by Ross on mine. But the riders I don't have a question mark by. Nathan Guerra is a rider on form at the moment.
He was top of my list of picks actually, Nathan, and he's been riding well outside. Oh. Well, he's one of my top picks in Category 2, and he's been riding really well outside. He did the Tour of America's Dairyland last week, I think it was, week before, something like that, and won that as well. So he's on form for stage racing. So I think he's going to be one of the top challengers in the Category 2.
Yeah,
so,
I think. Go on, Matt.
I've got some more here that I'm going to throw in here. Bruce Bird and Damien Kiersnowski, both individuals.
Yeah.
Neither can be discounted. Both have been away pretty much more than they've been around in the Sunday Race Club. I think also when we go down and look at them, riders like Jesse Langevin and Nicolas Fournier, Thibaut Boulanger, Simon Parder-Cooper, all part of that Wimbledon Eiffel squad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a brilliant name because it's basically a Dutch French squad. So you've got the Eiffel Tower and you've got the windmills. And so I think that it's a brilliant name, but B, it's a brilliant squad, and I think that's going to make. I think it elevates riders who maybe we wouldn't think of them as top class individually. Actually, as a team, they could be up there challenging. I have got on my list Phil Graves, Simon Walter, SS, Mystics 100 and Ivan Yuki. The UAE clan team, come a stage race, work really well. We've seen them work as a team before with Pablo Popovic in the team. We've seen them work as a team. And I think when you've got that experience, you've got in Graves, X100 and Yuki, 3 of the most experienced. You add in SS, who is the third highest rider. You add that up. You have got years and years and years of experience in there of racing on the platform, and I think that is worth a lot. Somebody who makes a lot of headway by knowledge and bunch skills, rather than necessarily having raw power and speed, or being the youngest in the group. I actually think those, because they have that experience, they can actually save a lot of energy.
The racecraft, I think, some of the racecraft, and which the racecraft on MyWhoosh is different from outdoor racecraft, and having the knowledge of how the platform works because they've raced week in, week out for so long, I think is going to be really beneficial for that team.
I may have to go back and do some maths and add up all of the amount of races of all that done for each of the riders in that team and add it all up, because it would be a phenomenal number. Emma, you were talking earlier on about seeing Peter Milostic.
Yes,
by
come
earlier
back on form.
I mean like earlier on today in the Sunday race.
Like a few hours ago.
A few hours ago. I don't know, it seems like 5 minutes ago, but a few hours ago. Peter lost it back on form. He's in with Maciej Mendakowicz and Marcin Trojnowski, who moved up, and James Krasnich.
James Krasnich, who's taken a number of wins recently. So Team Balbina are one for me. The Goats are the other squad, I think, who are really going to be up there. Both of the Cairn brothers, David Nitko, Stuart Miller, Vidal Mayer, those three have also been going really well. I think those two teams are really, really ones to watch. I'd like to see the Peloton Phantoms go well, but I don't quite think they've got the edge that the Goats or the Balbinas have.
I also think Vuelta Panda could have a good race as well. They're another of my potential sneaky teams that could pretend.
Well, yeah, I think for me, that last edge, the last bit, they're like somebody swinging a sword that's got a slightly blunt edge at the moment, because Emma's face, because if they get it right with the blow, it's gonna be knockout. They get it right and they're gonna take the win. But it's not guaranteed, because if you get it slightly wrong, it's just going to bounce off. It's not got that cutting edge that maybe some of the other teams have.
But what you will see from them is consistency and tight packing. It's a different tactic. It's not a all out, let's go for it off the front, let's create a group, let's get as many, it is a within the top 25, we can pretty much guarantee that all of us can place every day.
Oh, that's a big ask on a massive race field.
Not for that crew. I think they are consistent packers. I think they really, really are. I know that sounds like a really strange phrase.
It's not a phrase that they're necessarily going to appreciate there, Emma.
No, but I mean, Giselle Betty.
It is a compliment. It's a compliment.
It's very strange compliments, but they are compliments. I mean, Betty is always there or thereabouts. He sits in the pack. He follows a wheel. He doesn't poke his tyre out into the wind. He conserves energy. He knows someone else is going to make the move to close down the gap, and then he goes. Gets in the right place on the right wheel, but he doesn't need to be making the action. He's not that type of rider, but it doesn't mean he's not right up there at the finish.
No, I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
Category 1 in the men, the last category for us to talk about today. 43 riders on the start sheets, 9 more than last year. So an uplift. In fact, there's a 55% uplift in the men's race this year in terms of overall numbers. It's a huge uplift. A number of surprises for me. Obviously, there's been a bit of a jiggle around with our standard Sunday Race Club teams to really play around here. We've got the standard Alpha Jaw crew. They're calling themselves the Space Cowboys this time round.
I love that. I found that out. I found that out earlier in the week, and I was laughing about it. I enjoyed it a lot.
I loved it. Team Abus Esports could go well. Paradians, Nusson, Plantro and Nair. The final bosses, this is where it really has played around, because Hayden Pucker teaming up with Jason Osborne, Pavel Skierski and Stefan Van Elst. Maybe we should talk about that crew in a minute, because some of the things I was thinking today watching them race. Then for me, the big surprise in this team competition, I think, other than the Zero Ducks Racing, who could really take the racing to everybody else should they choose to, is ZDR2. Josh Harris, Matthias Van He, Neil Fryer and Tom Thrall. Thrall is flying at the moment. It's the best I've seen him race on the Sunday Race Club the last 2 weeks he's ridden. Josh Harris hasn't been with us on the Sunday Race Club for a long time, but he's made a commitment and a choice to join the MyWhoosh Championships. He doesn't do things by halves, so I'm looking forward to seeing him race. And Neil Fryer is got to be the surprise of the century when it comes to a World Championships. He gets there by the skin of his teeth, and then boom, everybody realises he's on the stage.
This is a case, I think, Emma, of two things. One, I agree with you in terms of the riders. They are right. All riders that can come good come a big event. And whether that's a MyWhoosh Championship or a World Championship, Fryatt, Harris, Van He, the way they qualify for things like World Championships, they're top class. Thomas Stroll, again, the same. But I think the other thing that this plays into is your thing about which is the top team here, Zero Ducks Racing or ZDR Zero Ducks Racing 2. That's the question, because who is number one and who's number two? Because Bjorn Andreasen, Jakob Freiland, Niall Pedersen, Ruben Dunt are there. And then do we then see this being that, well, actually, we've got two teams here. That's a total of 8 riders who could work together here instead of just 5.
I'm just going to hold that pause for a minute and let everybody think about that, because that comes to my question of, how do you beat Jason Osborne?
Gang up on him properly. It sounds terrible.
I didn't say that, you did.
I know it sounds terrible. I really like Jason, but gang up on it. It's all pile on, and it's like being in the playground. You can be the biggest bloke, the biggest kid in the playground, but if everybody else piles on top of you, you ain't going anywhere. And I think this is the problem is that he's got such a strong team around him with Hayden Pucker, Pavel Skierski, and Stefan Van Elst. How do you take that? How do you beat him in that? How do you? If he chooses to ride off with an hour to go every day, which is his standard race tactic on SRC, I don't think you can stop him, surely.
I don't know about Hayley, but I do question Hayden Pucker, Pavel Skierski, Stefan Van Elst, and Jason Osborne. If Jason Osborne wasn't in that team, any of those 3 could win a race.
Yeah.
If they were allowed to race themselves for themselves as an individual. Putting them all in a team together, for me, particularly if some of the other teams' tactics are to attack, who do you send down the road? Who do you sacrifice from Hayden Pucker, Pavel Skierski, and Stefan Van Elst when all of those riders can finish in the top 8 every day?
Do you need
Who do you sacrifice? And
No.
It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because it's, we work, the MyWhoosh Championships works on like a Grand Tour team classification, and you don't, so it's the top 3 finishers every day. So you don't need, so take Hayden, for example. Hayden doesn't need to be, like if he's top 3 on 3 days, he doesn't necessarily still need to be in that top 3 on the other days. So actually, on a day where Hayden looks at it and he says, you know what, it goes up a whacking great mountain and I'm possibly not going to be the one at the finish, then maybe on that day you send Hayden up the road, or you can kind of play your tactics a little bit, because they can still.
I think you're both wrong. Just thinking you need to play tactics. You're just overthinking this, area.
Well, I'm not saying
really simple.
I'm not saying that they need to play tactics, because actually, like for me, I think Jason. Maybe I shouldn't say this. I don't think Jason is beatable next week. I just don't. And I don't necessarily think he needs the team. Like, look, it'll be great to have it.
If you're a teammate of Jason Osborne, your job is to sit, wait, let Jason get far enough down the road, which won't take him long.
And not chase him.
Not chase him, but you can either get a free ride to the finish. You don't need to do any chasing. You don't need to do any of the counter-attacking. You can just sit there and wait and choose your moment and have one decisive thing. We see it so often in racing. If you have somebody in there, and they're all capable of being in a leading group pretty much a lot of the time, and by leading group I basically mean everybody but Jason, then they have that easy ride option, and to just use their energy where they need it. There's no, they choose what soundtrack's being played in that. They're not there listening to somebody else's selection in the jukebox. That's not happening to them.
I think it's going to be a very interesting first few stages. I think Bjorn Andreasen can never help himself. Niall Pedersen,
I agree.
Niall Pedersen, just the two of those together on the same team, just egg each other on. And I think it could be really, really interesting, stage 1 and stage 2. I don't doubt by the time we get to the mountains that Jason will just ride away from the rest. But I do think, whilst the individual competition, we could possibly call it, I think we could possibly call 1, 2, 3 in the individual competition in the Cat 1 men.
Do you think?
I can put another envelope. I can put another envelope next to me, should you wish. But what I don't think we can call is the team competition, because I think that's going to be all about time gaps and how the other teams play their cards. And it's going to be all about the tactics and how they execute them and whether they choose to or not.
And let me just throw something else in the mix here. And that is when you look at things like the sprint competition, when you've got Linda Molostic, for example, in there, when you've got riders like Neil Fryer in there, who both have got great sprints. When you look at somebody coming along and Ollie Jones in there, they can sprint really, really well. Plantro, Panizza, there's plenty of people who can sprint out there. Now Pedersen again, Ruben Don. They've all got the sprint. How many people are going to just sort of take that step back and wind it back and go, actually, do you know what? I am going to go for this in the sprints, and I'm going to not go for we're not going to look at the overall, and we're really going to focus on the sprint.
Well, I'm shaking my head only because of the way the sprint competition is constructed. And I think particularly in the men's race, you're going to have to go out hard on the first 3 days if you want to win the sprint competition without being the GC leader by the end of the race. Because those final 3 days, 50 points in that sprint competition are in those final 3 days. They're going to the GC winner. Because they're all after mountains. So if you want to win that sprint competition in the men's race, you have to go out hard on stage 1, 2, and 3, and you have to pick up all of those points, and then you have to try and hang in there for some points on the final 3 stages.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, and
it's going to be really interesting.
I think just talking through all of these categories, men's and women's, I think there's going to be so much action in every category, and I just think it's going to be a great race.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. It is going to be such a great race, and it starts on Tuesday. Everybody, I'm assuming, is pretty much taking a rest day tomorrow. I'm not taking a rest day, neither will Matt. We will be working our socks off in the studio with the broadcast team, trying to get everything ship-shape. Are you ready, Hayley, and what do people need to think about?
Yeah, I think so. I basically trialed my setup today as I'm going to use it, which, it's great if you race Sunday Race Club today to kind of have everything as you plan to in the championship. But I've tried to get as much done in advance as possible. So because I already have, the kind of my estimated times for each stage, I've basically already planned out my food bags of my nutrition for each stage. I've obviously read through the tech guide as well. I fully cleaned and re-waxed my chain and then used that to race today. So anything that I've been able to do in advance, I've already done, because the less I have to think about on race morning, and then the more time I can spend on recovery after each stage, the better it is for me and for my race. So yeah, I've kind of had a checklist earlier in the week of the things that I wanted to get done, and I tried to have everything done before Sunday Race Club today so that I could test out anything I changed.
So in terms of looking at things like the tech guide, the rules and regs, is there anything as a rider you're particularly looking for in there? What would be that, if someone was going to say, what the key 3 things to look at, what would you always look at when you go into something like this?
So weigh-ins, for example, so obviously category 1 weigh-in every day, categories 2 to 6 weigh-in on day 1, and then could be asked to weigh in during the championships. Getting the timing window correct for that weigh-in, that's really crucial, because you don't want to be annulled or have a problem because you've done your weight video at the wrong time. That's a really silly mistake. So that's a key thing to look at. Also, I guess making sure that you've shown everything that you need to show in your weight video. You have to show what weight your dumbbell or your like calibration weight is, show the underside of the scale, stuff like that. So just nailing down those details. Also, obviously, making sure you know your category start times because of the different time zones, the time changes. Don't be caught out. And one thing that I've always done for a time trial on the road, because a time trial is one of those things where you know your start time, so you can plan backwards. I plan backwards. So I say, okay, category 2 starts at 10 a.m. UK time. So what time do I want to have finished my warm-up? What time do I start my warm-up? What time do I take my dose of caffeine? What time do I have my pre-race gel? And I literally work back all the way through to what time does my alarm go off in the morning? And I have that written out. And obviously for MyWhoosh Championships, it's the same every day. But I do that religiously because it nails into my head what I need to be doing.
I'm
And
now
then-
understanding why I was never an elite athlete.
So
I'm a control freak.
but that level of that foundation of that is based on the tech guide and the rule guide, because that's
Yeah.
the framework within which you work. Then you've got your start time and you're working backwards from there, and you then have worked out length of time. So when we come to something like nutrition, this is an example we used on the previous show, number one.
Yeah.
You've actually worked out exactly how many grams of fat, protein, what you need in terms of, calories through the day, what type of releases in there. There's really key things, aren't they? And then when you say you've got it bagged, that's basically literally having a system in place, is it?
Yeah.
Of what everything is.
Yeah, so I've literally, each of those little bags says on it stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, all the way through to stage 7. And in each of those bags is my pre-race nutrition. So, my pre-race gel that I'll take. It's got my in-race nutrition plus a little bit spare, because I always have, an extra gel just in case of emergencies. And it also has some of my recovery stuff in there too. So everything that I'm going to need for each stage, I think, will be in a separate bag. So I know that I've got enough, and I did it early enough in the week that, if I was like, oh, I actually don't have enough caffeine gels for what I want, I had time to get more. So I did it enough in advance of the race that I could order anything that was maybe missing.
Okay. It kind of makes sense. And I guess it's all this is all about being ahead of the game, isn't it? One of the things you can't do too early, though, is, you said you cleaned the chain and then wax it to give you the best chance of the bike. Yes, you can make sure some things on the bike that everything's sorted, but your chain waxing only lasts a certain length of time. You got to pre-ride it in as well.
Yeah.
So that is a really fixed window of kilometers before, isn't it, realistically, of when you need to do that to get the optimum performance out of that chain?
So I had my last outdoor ride on Thursday, and I had a 4.5 hour base ride. So I took the chain off after that base ride and cleaned it and then re-waxed it, knowing that Friday I only had 1 hour easy. Yesterday I had 2 hours. Today I had Sunday Race Club, and tomorrow I'll have my activation ride. So it's not too much to have put into the chain, but it's enough to have ridden it in. So, and obviously I don't plan to go outside again in the next 2 weeks. So I kind of timed it to line up with when I plan to do my last outdoor ride.
Could be the difference between actually being in the winning team and the losing team.
Let's not make everybody panic now.
Quite incredible.
No, I have to say I was a bit thrown yesterday, because in my activation ride yesterday for today's Sunday Race Club, my heart rate monitor decided that it was just gonna, check out.
Oops.
So yeah, so I did end up panic ordering a new Garmin heart rate monitor, which actually luckily arrived last night and I used for Sunday Race Club this morning. But basically check all your equipment, check your batteries. If you're on SRAM, charge both of your mech batteries. Even if you charged them yesterday ready for today, just charge them again tomorrow. Just make sure everything's charged, everything's, power meter's got a fresh battery, because it's really simple stuff to do. And even though you might be like, oh, I'm sure it will be fine, if it's not fine, you're going to feel like a bit of a fool.
You've invested so much time into racing this event.
Yeah.
You've given up your time to racing this event. You've given up so much. I mean, we're not all like Marius Fossier where we've had to move our family holiday, but, it's still a lot of there's a lot going at stake here, just in terms of effort and commitment in there. And I think nobody wants to be let down by equipment that fails, but things do go wrong, don't they? And I think that's one of the things that can happen. I mean, the weather can change. It can be, we've seen that where you've got in the northern hemisphere at the moment incredibly warm weather, but in the southern hemisphere you might get rain, you might get floods, there's always that potential for something outside your control to happen, isn't there?
There is. And I think what you really need to focus on is that this is a stage race, and it is possible to have a bad day and then still end up in a good position, which actually is what happened to me last year. I'd gone into the MyWhoosh Championships really hoping, especially with there being a time trial in there, really hoping that I could have a good overall race. And actually, I had a shocker on day one.
So this is 2025.
2025
Okay.
MyWhoosh Championship.
2025 stage one. Hang on. Just one second. Talk amongst yourself, folks, or even better, use the moment to follow at MyWhoosh Racing on social media. Hang on. Let's see if we can do this. Here we go. Stage one. There you
The
go.
wonders of MyWhoosh Info.
MyWhooshinfo.com.
I can see all of my mistakes on stage one replayed to me.
You're a long way down that list there, Hayley. What was going on?
It really was. I think I really messed up with my cooling strategy. It was hot last year. I mean, it's going to be hot again this year, but it was hot last year. I hadn't done lots of MyWhoosh racing by that point. And I just neglected cooling, and or I neglected cooling to the degree that I should have considered it. And I had a shocker. I was dropped. I was that stage. I can't actually read that from here, but was it Japan? Was it the like punchy Japan stage? I think it was.
Oh, yes, probably.
Yeah, I think it was, because that course is still slightly a nemesis. But I got dropped really early, and immediately my head went, well, that's it, Hayley. That's your championships, because you're now going to be chasing for the rest of this stage. And then what does that mean for the rest of the race? And then I just thought, you know what, just time trial your way through this stage, do as best you can. There are 6 more days to come. And I finished the stage. I was really disappointed. I think I sent a message to the team saying, girls, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what happened. I'll try and just make it up on the next stages. I thought more about my cooling strategy for day 2 onwards. I refined my cooling strategy, and I got stronger and stronger through the week. And actually, I came to Fuji, and I had a really strong race on Fuji. And then obviously we had the rest day, and then the time trial day. And I knew that the time trial day was that was where I really wanted to do well. And I really wanted to win that stage last year. And I did. I won it with enough of a time gap that, combined with my result on Fuji, I went from 20-something after stage 1.
27th, I think it was.
Yeah, and ended up 7th.
Yeah, and you can see that progression here on MyWhoosh. It's really, really good, this. I think it's it's a chart that I didn't realise existed a little while ago, and Emma actually pointed it out to me, because there's so many new features on MyWhoosh Info. They come faster than I can keep up with. Maybe I'm getting old, but it's that it shows you the progression, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think the key message here is, don't be disheartened, don't give up. It's 7 days, and there's always something to fight for. You could just fight for a stage win. Maybe if you're out of the GC, maybe people, and the GC battle's tight, maybe you've got an opportunity to get away and take a stage. There is always something to fight for in a stage race, and just don't give up. And if you have a problem, think, okay, how can I minimize it or fix it for tomorrow? And what can I still achieve in the stages that are left?
Can I just say, I mean, it was quite a dramatic fashion, so, from 27th to 7th, that's 20 places you can. But can I say, you were not the only one. I mean, I've gone through the top 5 in each of the 6 categories in both the men's and the women's race. In category 2, Gotlander also climbed 13 places on day 4 alone. Aside Safrazadi finished 5th in the men's Cat 1, he moved up 15 places over days 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yeah. So you weren't the only one, and that is replicated right the way through the race field. So I think the message of whatever happens on day 1, don't panic, just keep riding and refocus and refocus and refocus. You can't change what happened that day, but you can do something different for the next, is absolutely, a key message, because it is replayed over and over again in the results from last year.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've all been at races where things have gone wrong. How you deal with it quite often can be the difference. And remember, it could be somebody else the next stage, or the stage after that. And even on the last stage, if something goes wrong early, there's still a lot of stage left. If he goes wrong in the last metre of the last stage, it's pretty much all over, I have to say. It does happen. And I think with that, we're all over looking at everything we can do prior to the racing. So let's take a look at what's in store on stage 1 coming up on the MyWhoosh Championship.
Yeah, stage 1 at the MyWhoosh Championships on Tuesday. We're heading to Switzerland in both the men's and the women's race. Now, Hayley, you are on the bike. You've done the leg work. You've done the prep work. What are you thinking to stage 1?
I quite like it, actually. So I reconned this course after my nightmare with stage 1 last year. I thought I really need to know what's coming up. And actually, it's a nice course. So it's on a lot of the kind of newer roads in Switzerland. So you start at the high point and then you drop down really suddenly towards Zurich. And then you still do have a couple of QOMs along the way. But actually, unlike some of the climbs that we sometimes see on MyWhoosh, where it says an average, but it's not really representative because it's very stepped, these are more in line with the kind of climb average. That it's not quite as kind of nasty surprise. I think people will have to watch out for some of those bumps that we see at that plateau in the first kind of 10K, because some of those bumps, they're not that they're difficult, but some of those bumps in that first 10K are, you just need to not fall asleep. You need to be wide awake from the gun, because you could be caught out if some of the categories go off hard, which, knowing some of the categories, they will.
They will. And I think that's, when you look at that, it is that key section, isn't it? It's get dropped on the very first start, on the very first stage. You've got to do that making up ground like you talk about. And with the big drop down that follows, if you're not in the group, that descent is going to be key to be in the wheels there.
Yeah.
I think for me, if it was me in that, I would want to make sure I hadn't expended too much energy, but was sat in the group. And I wouldn't want to be on the attack that early, because it's a long way to the finish of stage 7 from there.
Yeah, I think that's right.
There are 2 climbs and 3 sprints along the way. For me, I don't think the climbs are really they're going to start the climbing competition, but we may see 1 or 2 people push on them to pick up the points. But I don't think we're really going to see, breakaways targeting those climbs. They're too short and sharp. We're going to see sprint efforts, I think, come out of the bunch. And I don't think that's going to be particularly representative of what we're going to see later on in the stages. But I do think we're going to see the real sprinters come out today. I also think it's going to be a sprint finish. I think we're going to see riders go off the back of groups, not off the front of groups. And I think we're going to see packs come into the finish line. And I think in most of the categories, it's going to be a sprinter who takes the win on day 1.
And Emma and Hayley, I'm going to ask you this particularly, because the end of this course, when we go through that sprint segment at 41.4 kilometers, it's come after that little drop of a downhill, but then you've got really not a lot, and then you hit a little bump coming in, which is coming into a tailwind. So you've got that little tailwind downhill running into that finish. I mean, you're thinking this is a sprint. Hayley, do you agree with that? Because I'm not sure. I think we're going to be on small groups. I can't see it being big bunches there. But I'm not certain on this. I'm a bit indecisive on this one.
You could get opportunists after that sprint, but I do think it's more likely to be a sprint finish. You might see people get a handful of seconds, but the thing is, taking a handful of seconds on stage 1, you can almost let that happen if you're confident that when it comes to the big mountains and the time trial, those couple of seconds are not gonna mean that much. So I'm more in line to say that it's going to be a sprint, and maybe you'll get 1 or 2 seconds between riders, between groups, but I don't think it's going to break hugely.
And even though the women's race is 46.1, the men's race is longer at 70.8. It's the same final 10K run to the finish line in both races. In that men's competition, there's 4 sprints, not 3. There's 3 climbs, not 2. But I think it's pretty much going to play out the same way. And for me, when I look at this, I just think bunch after bunch after bunch are going to come into that line. If they do want to make a break on that final climb segment, you're 10k from the finish line pretty much there. That's, I think, far too long for a solo breakaway on the flatter sections. I think it is sprint all the way.
I also think that looking at this profile, any individuals or small groups that try and get away are not going to make huge time gaps, whereas there's far more to be gained by saving some energy on stage one and expending that energy on stages later where you could actually make a much bigger difference.
So I think Matt is disagreeing with us and humming and hawing in the
well,
but we'll see what happens on Tuesday.
Yeah, we will. I've been wrong before. It's not the first thing, it's not the last time. I think for me, the thing is, you never know what's going to happen on day 2, day 3, day 4. If you've got the opportunity on day 1 to do something, you've got the legs, then you do it. Because
I have to say, from experience of stage racing, you do sometimes get stage 1 being the sneaky day that ends up deciding the entire race. It has happened in road stage races that I've done where people have let a break go. They've never managed to get it back, and that break have ended up being the top 7 on the GC at the end of the week. And stage 1, which looks innocuous, has decided the whole race. So it's not impossible. I don't necessarily think that's going to be how it plays out, but we'll see.
And there's so many people who I think are looking at this thinking, well, I'm not going when the big climbs hit, I'm not going to be in there. So this is their opportunity. And just because it's stage 1, I think there's a lot of people when it comes to a stage race, they get to stage 1 and go, I'm going to save it. I'm not, because we don't do this all the time. Most people don't race stage races on a regular basis. And some people will go better on the early days and worse on the last days. And some people that will reverse. So if you are on a good day, I would say, carpe diem, seize the day. Don't wait for something that may never happen, because we see that. We see that in stage racing.
Unless you're in women's category 2, and then let's just take it nice and chill, girls.
Matt's favouring a brave rider, and a brave rider is a bold rider. Hayley says, let's be reserved, please, and sip our tea along with stage 2.
Stage 1, ladies, it's fine.
Just as somebody who suffered on Hayley's wheel, no, just make it really jumpy everywhere so the diesel engine can't rev up and down fast enough. Good luck with that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck with that one. I'd like to see you try. I do think I think it's got the makings both in the women's and in the men's stages of being exciting racing. I think we're going to see that. I think if one of the things I always think though is that for me, the riders who are going to profit on all the stages are the people who are armed with the information, and that for me is really, really key. Get yourself armed with the information. I would have this, and it's something that Hayley said about looking forward to before, is watching people take the stage profile off the wall. They've got the standard profile like this. They've printed it out. They've got it stuck on the wall, one for every day, and one by one they get taken off the wall. Have the information there. It's so easy to get hold of now. You don't need to search for it. Go to MyWhoosh.com. Go to the stages, and there's so much info from wind direction to the climbs to distances. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know what? Even on Sunday Race Club races that I think don't suit me, like this morning, I make race notes. So I print up the profiles and I make race notes. And even on a race where I'm like, you know what, I'm kind of just training through it today, or I don't think this is really going to suit me, I have my notes like I would have stem stickers in a road race. And it's just like having that information and having done the prep. It's so easy to do because, as you said, MyWhooshinfo.com has everything you need. You can get so much from there. And I just can't put into words how invaluable the information is.
Yes, it's already prepped for 2026, I can tell you, because I've been on whilst we've been on air, and the 2026 league is ready for Tuesday.
Yes, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how it all plays out. All that information there. Don't forget the rule book and the guidebook as well, the technical guide on MyWhoosh.com. Go to MyWhoosh.com/events for that as well. do the prep, do the homework. You spend a lot of time on the bike this week coming up on the MyWhoosh Championship. Expending 10 minutes per stage is next to nothing in comparison. You're going to spend more than that probably eating gels a day if you're not careful of food on the bike today. Honestly, it's just like, don't shy from doing the prep. However you want to do it, whether it's making notes, printing off maps, bagging up your food. I think that preparation is really, really critical. Well, that is nearly it for our second preview show. I know it's been a long one, but hopefully you've all got something out there that you didn't know before, or just been entertained by us arguing and bickering about who we think is going to do what, where, when, and how. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, the stage race starts Tuesday. As if you haven't picked that up from the show, we're going to be with the MyWhoosh Championships for every single stage along the way. We're hoping you can join us. You can follow at MyWhoosh and, of course, at MyWhoosh Info for all the information in relation to the racing. You can download the app and get racing at www.mywhoosh.com. You can be the person that we are talking about next. You can subscribe to Inside the Race, the at MyWhoosh Racing Show on YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Apple Podcast. You can follow us on social media. You can follow Hayley, me, and Matt, as well as MyWhoosh Racing Show. Like us, give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Please feel free to support the show by sharing and telling your friends all about it. All the links, as always, will be in the show notes.
And by the time we come to you with the next show, stage 1 of the MyWhoosh Championships will be complete. We're going to follow the action. I know, it's crazy. We're going to be following the action every single day, all 7 stages. And we're also going to be hearing from the riders who are making the race, the riders who are giving us the action. And we're going to chat with them on the show every day during the MyWhoosh Championship. So we're going to have, lots to bring you.
I think it's going to be incredibly busy. I'm really looking forward to it. I know I can probably speak for all three of us saying that there's been a lot of work done, but we are really excited by this. As Emma says, we all love a stage race, and that's what's heading your way here on Inside the Race. Don't forget to tune into the broadcast to watch all of the racing action unfold on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel or on Twitch TV. You can see whether Hayley gets stage 1 right this time. I can't wait to see you and Hayley in the start pen. Till then, goodbye.
Goodbye.